Well, hello at long last to another visit to Piddle in the Marsh. Now, you're probably wondering where I've been, and so am I, but it's a bit of a long story, to which I can tell you I nearly died. And if you really want to know what happened, I'll tell you at the end of the video, because I'm sure there'll be some people who don't want to know and others who do. So we'll just contemplate on what little bit I've been able to do with the railway. And I'll be honest, it's not a lot, because my health just wouldn't allow it for a while, and then I got conned into, well, I say con, that's not fair. I got persuaded to do some work on the model railway at Stogumber station on the West Somerset Railway, which I could only do in short doses, but it gave me something to do and got me out, because I wasn't allowed to drive a vehicle for about 3 months. So, what's been happening on Piddle in the Marsh? Well, the answer is actually not a lot to the actual model itself, or the layout itself, but certain things have happened, and one of them is this little beastie here, an M2 from Graham Farish, which is a fantastic little runner and goes great, and it's got a special delivery on the back. Dillington custard. Now, I don't quite know where that's going yet, but there you have it. Now, the other thing that has arrived on the layout, I've been after a 142 for so long. This is actually number 4, believe it or not, because the other 3 failed completely, just didn't work properly, so we're sent back. In fact, the last one I got didn't even have a motor in it, if I'm honest, but we won't go there. And I'd just about given up when I spotted this, brand spanking new. I don't know where it's been hiding or how come it didn't get sold, but straight out of the box. It was a bit squeaky, applied a bit of oil to it in the right places, and it runs beautifully. And quiet, which for a Dapple I'm impressed with. We'll see how long it lasts. Now, the other loco, which is running on the layout, although it's all stopped, and I know why it's stopped, I'll come back to you in a second. We'll try that again. The other loco, which is running round, it's just coming out the tunnel over here, which I've had for a while now. It is GWR goods wagon, or GWR goods train I should say, loco, which ran for a short while after I'd put new motors in it, or a new motor I should say, not motor, and then it just refused to do so. So I've ended up putting new wires and stuff all the way through it. And now it seems to work most of the time. It just occasionally likes to drop its tender off the track, and it will not run forward at all. Doesn't even like running backwards without a bit of a loco on the front end, or the front bogie falls off. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. But at least it runs now, and it does run most of the time okay. My problem with it is at the minute I haven't been using it enough, because I've not been well enough. Anyway, that is the current new stuff on here. And the 142 is just coming through again. And this really has been a good buy for me, because it squeaked and rattled something terrible around all the corners on the layout. And just oiling it, and now it runs beautifully. Anyway, that's enough of this bit. Now if you need me to, I need to have a bit of a changeover. So while I change stock, I'm going to let you have a look at what else I've been doing. Oh, but before we go, I think I should just mention that every week since I've been ill, which was end of last August, I have had a certain person's voice come at me over the phone or various other means saying, "Where's me update?" And this is one Paul Sheedy of Wickford. He has done nothing but moan and whinge about wanting an update for months. Well, Paul, I've finally done it for you. So please, stop nagging. You nag worse than my mother does. In fact, perhaps you should be called Paula, the amount of nagging that you do. There's Dillington Custard riding around again. Right, so I'll have a changeover and you can see something else. So while I do this, have a look at the other video. Well, hello and welcome for once again, and it's been a long time since I last did a video of any sort. Welcome to Stogumber Station on the West Somerset Railway. I'm up here doing a bit of work, not to the actual station because I'm not fit enough yet to be able to do that. I did try a few weeks ago and only managed a couple of hours, so I've given up. But they are just getting ready for the start of the season on the 22nd. As you can see, the man in orange. And down the back over there, you can just see the plume of smoke. Well, there's no trains running today, but the final clear up is happening. So what am I doing here? So, welcome to the waiting room at Stogumber Station, which is where I'm hiding at the minute. And I'm here for one simple reason, because although I haven't been doing much on my own model railway, I have been doing a bit on this, as time would let me, because of weather restraints and also my health. No, look, there goes a train. Now this model was given to the railway by one Michael Holly back in 2017, as the plaque says. I made it work a few years ago to get it to run up and down, and then it's been a case of let's see what we can do to sort it out, because it is quite old. And one of the first things I did was to redo the river, which you can see here, which is still slightly white, but it is drying out rapidly, and as the sun comes on it will get better. But the other thing I have been doing is, you can see the embankment is all made out of lichen. All the way along, which, shall we say, as there is a good bit of example, it's dried out, it's dyed, and it looks a mess. So I've had to tidy it up. Now, all above the wall at the back was all lichen and trees. Now the station's changed since this was built because of various things happening, so I've tried to make it look decent, which I hope I've done, and tidy it up so it lasts for a lot longer than it was going to. But the unfortunate part was I've started right up the back over there and we've gone across, and my aim was to go to about this point, but every time I touched something it fell in bits. So we had to, in the end, go right the way along the back up to the corner, which has taken some time. As you can see, there's some new cows down the back, and we've tidied it up a bit. You can now see through the bridge that you couldn't see through before, and the river bridge as well has now been tidied up and you can see through that. Now this will be hopefully my aim next year, or the winter of this 2025-26, when the railway shut again. But that's what I've been doing. Because of the cold I can only do a couple of hours, because it's been taking 2 weeks to get the grass and all the stuff I put on, to dry. PVA is incredible when it's cold, not drying. But as you can see, if we zoom into there, I do have my little touch on it. Now, as I am a end gauge model maker, as such, as what Piddle in the Marsh is, this model of Stogumber stations in AA. So I have found it quite challenging getting the scale right, but the model is not as Stogumber station quite is. It's got modeller's license, because as you noticed, there is a bay platform here, and Stogumber does not have a bay platform. The other thing we have here is a signal box. There was no signal box at Stogumber next to that side of the station. What the signal box was in this area here, where that tree is, which is next to, or in reality was next to the waiting room where I am now, but has long since gone. There was a good shed, but that has also long since gone. And all the area where the good shed was is now the station garden, where you can feast on cream teas, etc. But hopefully it'll pass with approval for what I've done to it. There are a few little things about, as you can see. A lot hidden. There is a quiz for it as well, for people to have a go at, to see if they can find 28 questions. And it wouldn't be a model I'm involved in, would it, if it didn't have the secret little lady with no clothes on. But you're not seeing that, you're not to tell anybody. So that's what Piddle in the Marsh has been doing over the winter, while my health let me, which has slowed me down drastically, I can assure you. And I've only just managed to pull it off today to finish it. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll carry on now with the layout of my own update. Right, so you've now all had a look at Stogumber Station and what's going off there. And we've had a change of trains on the track. So what you see here is 50001, and it's had a bit of a change in the fact that it's got 2 Taunton cider wagons in them, which is about the right time before Taunton cider went bang and disappeared. And it's all been muckied up to make it look as they do, which is absolutely full of crap on the railway. So when I put the 2 Taunton cider wagons into that train and mucked it all up, I ended up with 2 left over, which sat about for a while. And then I decided to do something else, because a class 68 appeared, needing a repair, a big repair. Anyway, so I put the 68 back together, and as you see, it works fine. And all it was because somebody dropped it and dropped all the drive shafts out. So I put it back, bought it off them and kept it. And the train has been turned into the Copperbird cider train. Took me ages to do because I was pretty poorly at the time and I could only do short bits. So weathering all that lot and getting hold of the wagons took quite a while. But I'm quite happy with the effect it's given. And so Copper Cider now has its own trade. I'm getting some exercise today walking around this layout. So that's Copperbird cider and the train. And I do like the 68s. Give me a 68 over a 66 any day. Hate them things. Really do. Anyway, so I put the 68 back together, and as you see, it works fine. And all it was because somebody dropped it and dropped all the drive shafts out. So I put it back, bought it off them and kept it. And the train has been turned into the Copperbird cider train. Took me ages to do because I was pretty poorly at the time and I could only do short bits. So weathering all that lot and getting hold of the wagons took quite a while. But I'm quite happy with the effect it's given. And so Copper Cider now has its own trade. I'm getting some exercise today walking around this layout. So that's Copperbird cider and the train. And I do like the 68s. Give me a 68 over a 66 any day. Hate them things. Really do. Right then, we'll carry on doing a bit more because I can't make a whole video at one go. I've got to keep stopping. Right, so these are my class 59s, which you have seen before, although they are a bit different now because I have got rid of those useless ESU chips that were in them, chucked them in the bin and put some Zimmer ones in. Now, if I put the sound on, you wouldn't hear them because they do make one hell of a racket. And they are running around beautifully quiet and smooth, which they haven't done for a while because I just hated the noise and the constant clicks and everything that they did, which wasn't needed. And so we have Revolution trains with Zimmo chips in. And they weren't too expensive either. They were only, I think it was 110 quid I paid for them from YouTube's. All programmed up and everything. And if anybody does buy one and you want the settings for the lights and so on, it's all easy to do. You can use the same decoder in each one and the lights are different. So it's just a case of setting up some stuff on them. So it's all there if you want to do it. I can soon pass that information on to you because we had to find it out ourselves. Anyway, they're beautifully quiet with Zimmos in, quieter than the ESU chips that came with them, which I am so glad I have got rid of. And I've got all the braking system on it that normally comes with a Zimmo, so I am more than happy. The other thing that I've managed to sort out, and I don't know whether I've done this or whether it was from new, but these Imri ones, they just wouldn't run properly. They wouldn't reverse, wouldn't go forwards, they kept jumping off the track. They always seemed to run cockeyed. And there was somebody at Backman's who said, "Have you checked the wheels?" So I says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Check they're in the right way." He says, "Because we found that they're all slightly to one side." So he says, "There's one wheel comes off easily, you know, with the ends on. That's the electrical resistant bit, you know, the plastic around it, so it doesn't short out." And he says, "Make sure they're all to one side," which I did. Took me a long time to do it, and having to clean them all up. But instantly they ran smoothly and quietly and in a straight line. So that was an excellent thing to have done. Sorry about my finger there. But it is great to have the 59s back running. Because basically we've been stood still for 6 months and without moving, because I just hated those chips so much I just didn't use them. And you couldn't program or do anything with them either. So here's you, your product's crap. But I'm sure others will totally disagree with me. Anyway, that just about comes to the end of the update. So that's it from Piddle and the Marsh. Now those of you who want to know what is actually up with me, I'll tell you in a minute. The rest of you, thanks for watching, and see you again whenever I get the chance to do. And you may think that sounds funny, but I just don't know what's happening all the time. And if the hospital refused me the drug like they did in March, it's taken me a month to get over it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye. Right then, so I suppose any of you who are still here want to know what's actually happened to me. So, I'll tell you the gruesome tale. Although some of it is quite funny when it's not you, although I do find it funny now. So, last August, I had to stop work rapidly. I didn't have any choice in the matter, it was like stop, because my blood platelet count was dangerously high. Because the drug that I was given to take, which is a normal use drug, just didn't work for me, didn't do a thing. And so a normal human being should have a platelet count in their blood of around 250 to 300 per unit of blood. Mine at the time, last August, was 1660, which is exceedingly dangerous and very high. So I was stopped dead. Now the problem was, the drug I needed was no longer available because it had been stopped by the manufacturers, I understand it, because from being used for what we were using it for, because it was also a drug that's used for treating hepatitis C, which was what its main use was. The blood platelet bit was an exception. So I spent from August all the way up to the 13th of December getting slowly and slowly worse. And by the 13th of December I could hardly walk, hence why there's been no videos or anything from me. And I got this new drug, which I'll show you now, which is that. And inside, if I can open the box, you can never open it when you want, is basically an injection pen and one needle there, because I've already used this on Monday. And each of these things, surprisingly, there's £5 there in that one box when it's full, which was a bit of a shock for me. But when you consider that some cancer drugs cost £250,000 a time, it's nothing. But that is entirely what's keeping me alive at the minute. If I don't take it, my blood platelet count goes rocketing and I'll die. Anyway, I took this on the 13th of December and all was fine. I felt absolutely great and we were going wonderfully well, and then we started getting close to Christmas, and on the 23rd of December strange things started to happen, very strange things, and I ended up with all 4 fingers on my left hand looking like one of ET's. They were absolutely bright red on the end and glowing, and then the 2 small fingers on my right hand were absolutely red hot, and then my index finger and the one next to it was absolutely freezing cold. But the worst part was, and this is where some of you will possibly find it a bit uncomfortable but funny, my old chap John Thomas had, shall we say, increased in size somewhat. It had swollen up, but that was also absolutely screaming hot and red. So much so, I ended up with a blister right on the very end of it. The pain was excruciating. And I spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and Boxing Day constantly walking in and out the bathroom, running a cold water into the sink and flopping it in it, trying to get some relief out of it. Because once you've injected it, you can't get it out. And I was having a reaction to it, which I didn't enjoy, I promise you. So I didn't take a second dose then, and I had to go back on to using the other drug a couple of days after that one had run out, because I was supposed to do it again on the 28th, I think it was, and I didn't do it. So I had 3 weeks then of doing nothing other than taking the old drug, and then the hospital called me back in and said, there isn't anything else, we think you ought to have another try at it. So I did, but on my conditions, and that was we're having it at a lower dose. So I started taking it. First dose was 70 mils I took, whereas at Christmas the one I took there was 120. And I was fine, except for the fact that I'd have other complications, which didn't help. On the 28th of December, I woke up that morning with the whole of my left side buzzing, and it wouldn't go away. All of my left leg, my right, and my left arm was absolutely going zzz all the time, like somebody who was putting an electric charge through me. It took about 3 hours for it to go off, but as much as I didn't like it, there has been a benefit. And the benefit is that I've got the feeling back in my left arm, and I've got the feeling back in my left leg and my left foot, with the exception of a bit round my knee, which I can live without. I've still got some tingling in my left hand, from which I had before, but I'm a lot better. The problem was, I've now had to learn to walk again, which I've done. And it also meant that I didn't get to drive for another couple of months, but you can't drive when you can't walk properly, can you? But we got there, and I was taking the drug as well. Went from 70 to 80, and at the end of each fortnight, which is what they were taking them for, I kept getting all these little tingles and weird things going off all over the place, which I must admit was concerning, but I seem to be getting better and dealing with it. Anyway, the good news is that I got to 120 mils of it, and everything was fine. And then the hospital on the 12th of March wouldn't let me have any more. It appears they wanted to try to make me go for another week and see if we could last. Well, I got to 19th and I managed. On the 20th, I fell over. There was no problem, I just had a little bit of a passing out. I was okay. On the 22nd, I passed out big time. And unfortunately for the West Somerset Railway, I did it on Stogumber station. But I was sat down having a cup of tea in the station office at the time, and I just went. And it appears I was out for 7 hours. And basically, I'd run out of the stuff in me. And it has taken me now a month to get back to where I was. Still not quite right, but we're nearly there. And I'm now taking 130 and 140 ml shots alternatively. Because I know it says 250 ml on the box, but there's nearer 300 in a syringe. So you can just squeeze that extra little bit out of them and get away with it. And it's okay. I'm getting used to it, and everything seems to be okay. But I wouldn't recommend it to anybody if you have to, because alright, I'm only injecting it once a fortnight, which compared to some people is nothing. It's easily done, but it's not something I want to do really. But it's inject or die, and it's as simple as that. So that's why I've not been about, because I've had a really rough trip with it, and I'll be honest, some days I wish I had died. It was that bad. Anyway, that is the truth of what has happened. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody else, but if you actually saw me, I look perfectly healthy, and you wouldn't know there was anything wrong at all. But there is a major problem, and it will probably kill me eventually. But when or how, I do not know yet. So now you all know what's going off. I didn't think you really want to see me inject it, so I didn't do that. Might frighten some people. Funny thing is though, the first time I did it I was scared to death, and then when I'd done it I wondered what I was scared of, because it was painless. Don't even feel it. You just, in it goes, and you don't do it, you just do it automatically. And it looks absolutely clear, there's nothing on it, and it has to live in a fridge, so we now have a special compartment in the fridge. But that's the story so far. So anything different happens, I'll let you know. For all of you who've been asking what I'd have to do. So compared to some people though, I think I've got away with it lightly. I'm very lucky that I just have to inject once a fortnight. Some people have to do it every day, and that I think I would draw the line at. Anyway, thank you for watching Piddle in the Marsh again. Hopefully it won't be so long before the next update, and bye for now.